for ceremonial use copal. It's COPAL, or it could be spelled with the K. If in between, it's actually in San Diego County before it actually hits Arizona. There's a border, and it's obviously east of Palm Springs, but it's southeast, obviously, of Palm Springs. But there is a desert out there that has all these copal trees that are growing in these interesting, like, rock formation region, and they just grow like out of the rocks, and out of the sand and whatnot. But it's very rocky terrain, and each tree is marked by the government. Each tree has its own number.
Interesting.
And they've got helicopters flying over that region like crazy.
What do you think that means?
Well, I was actually with the Mayan timekeeper on this trip, and he was basically and I actually brought this question up because I was feeling that there was some sort of tunnel system underneath, and this was kind of like a tracking. I guess by growing the copal just in this region was kind of the identification of, letting whoever knew about this that, okay, this is where the cave, this is where the tunnel systems end or start.
Kind of like an ancient living map.
Pretty much.
Wow.
In the sense of that, and so yeah, it was a fun experience, that's for sure.
Well, now, what is the connection, if there is one, between the Dropa Stones and the crystal skulls?
I know crystals are definitely something that could be used to extract information from the disc, if that is the case. If you could extract information from these discs, then crystal would obviously be one way to probably extract it out of. So I'm assuming, and this is coming from the education that my contact over in China was telling me about, the discovering and whatnot, that they play a major role in it. It depends on whether or not they were maybe created for that or for other purposes.
Wow.
So it's he was even bringing up the fact of the levitation, the gravity level of how they're used is something that the crystal skulls play a huge part of as well. So
wow, it's fascinating. I wish we understood more about the connection between things, but it seems that it's very difficult to really delve into it and get down to the nitty-gritty.
You gotta find the right.
Yeah.
I mean, if that is the case, you have to find the right disc that was purposely created for that. Because again, ancient China has thousands and thousands and thousands of these discs.
Wow, fascinating. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously they probably have some kind of spiritual significance as well, because they're devices or objects that contain information and can communicate.
Yeah, you definitely have to have, you would want to definitely have that caretaker title to it, because essentially the connection, the spiritual connection of these are pretty pretty amazing. I mean, the one, the interlocking one, it's got dark energy, and it's actually kept in a box, in its own like box where it's like fitted perfectly and whatnot. So we don't.
You don't mess
play around with that. No, but the others are very positive. Yeah.
We're going to be out of time very shortly, but before we wrap anything up, because I'd like to do a part 2 with you because this is such an interesting subject, and we could just call this one part 1. But on the phone the other day, you mentioned that we are in the quickening, which I agree with, and I was wondering if you could just say a little bit about what you feel that is, or it signifies for humanity at this time.
Well, that's such a broad subject anymore, isn't it? I think when I did mention the quickening, time itself is it's really almost non-existing. Even the memories of day-to-day activities being lost so quickly.
Yes.
That it's maybe it's the mercury that we can't retain it, right? But it's something that is happening at a time frame that's necessary for any shift. I mean, whether or not it's a conscious shift or whether or not it's a solar activity type shift, especially being in cycle 24 right now and whatnot. But
right.
It's something that obviously we're in a transition that our ancients have warned us about, and whether or not it's a catastrophe or whether or not it's something that is a universal shift with the planets, and obviously that's going to add some sort of chemistry twist to our human, genome. Then I mean, there's obviously a lot of evidence going on with our cells being made of light, and it kind of connecting with a lot of research with the crystal, quote unquote, crystal children, that their DNA strands are little bit different from where it was 100 years ago or whatnot. A lot of that private research that kind of was surfacing for a while now, but now it's kind of dwindled off, which is interesting.
Well, there's a lot going on with magnetism too, and talk about the pole shift and so on and so forth. And
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
A good friend of mine was telling me the other day, you know what? Every single prophecy that the Hopis have brought out are, they've already been revealed. It's already happened. There's one last one, and I haven't done too much research on the Hopi prophecies, but there's one last one, and it has something to do with dropping the bombs. They're all waiting for the bombs to drop. And I was like, really? I was like, okay.
Well,
there's that.
Yeah, it is conceivable. But you're right. All of the crisscross spider webs in the skies, and that could easily be telephone poles, or it could be chemtrails. But we have about a minute or two left. Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience, or any sites that you would like the listeners to visit that would be of interest?
Well,
other than your MySpace.com Dropa site is really interesting.
That could actually be probably the best thing. That kind of gives you the idea of the whole storyboard. It gives you the pictures of the relics that we're taking care of, and doing research on. If there's any interest of the subject matter or whatnot, they could feel free to email me at humanityunite@yahoo.com.
Wonderful.
And that one right there is mainly just to let everyone know that again, I'm really not too interested in the research of where the story is at, but mainly what if these buy discs, previously titled buy discs, have been used for any type of electromagnetic uses or whatnot. That's kind of where we're at in studying the discs.
It'll be interesting to see, because I'm sure that there will be some listeners that hear the show tonight or in the future, because the show will be archived, that know something about these discs and the skulls. So I just want to thank you for bringing such a wealth of information to light, and for being on the show, and for doing part one of a two-part show with me.
Sure, Lance.
And I can't wait to have you back in a couple months, and we'll finish up and explore some of these ancient mysteries even more.
Yeah, I look forward to it too, brother.
Terrific. Thanks a lot, Josh. I'm very grateful for you being on the show.
All right, we'll be talking soon.
All righty. And good night, everybody, and stay tuned for Jim Gilliland.